Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm bringing you another mukbang, and for this mukbang, I have some fettuccine alfredo. I know you guys have been wanting to see lasagna, and I promise I will get around to it, but fettuccine, for some reason, in the past few years, has just been a really October and fall dish for me, so I really wanted to make some fettuccine. Plus, I just got this Alfredo sauce from Smith's. It's a vegan Alfredo sauce. I think they use cauliflower, so I really wanted to try that. Hopefully it's good, and then I just put some vegan Parmesan on top. And then this is a hot fudge pudding cake. It kind of spilled over, but it still looks really, really good. So basically it's like a cake, but then there's a layer of like hot fudge on the bottom. And then I just put some vegan vanilla bean ice cream on top. And I know you're supposed to technically scoop it and serve it so that way the fudge can go on top of the cake, but I was too lazy, so we're leaving it in this thing and I'll eat it like this. And then also for today's mukbang, I'm bringing you guys another conspiracy theory. Plus you guys have really seemed to like my conspiracies and true crimes recently, which I'm really happy about because I love them too. So yeah. Oh, and I also have some apple cider to drink on the side. Ooh. That is very good. Okay. I'm going to start with dessert. I know some of you guys like it when I have savory first, but I want to try this before the ice cream completely melts. Oh my gosh, there's the... I'll show you in a second. You can see there's a little bit of the fudge on the bottom. I found this recipe on Pinterest, so I will link it down below. I just veganized it. Mmm. It tastes like the brownie. Just a little bit more cakey. So today's conspiracy theory has to do with something called the Belmez faces. I hadn't heard about this before, and I stumbled upon it. I think I was just going through YouTube and I found a video about it, and I was very intrigued, to say the least. In 1971, residents of a private house in Belmez, Spain claimed to have seen faces take shape in their concrete floor. A woman by the name of Maria Camara ended up spotting a blemish or stain manifesting on the concrete floor of her kitchen, which not only appeared to be a disconcerting face, but it also appeared to have shifted locations. And this paranormal phenomenon has been a very big reason for busybodies or tourists to come visit this house in Belmez. So it's a little tourist attraction. I think I just got chocolate all over my face. Okay, before I continue, I want to try the fettuccine. Typically, I prefer making my own homemade fettuccine. I just like it a lot more. But this smelled... Oh, I don't even know where that went. This smelled a lot like my homemade one, so I'm very excited. It's pretty good. I already added salt and pepper to it, but it's still not as flavorful as mine. Still good though. If you guys want to try this out, it's the Simple Truth brand. It's their vegan plant-based Alfredo sauce. I got it at Smith's. Supposedly, several faces have materialized and dissipated at many points in time around the same area of the kitchen floor that the original face was spotted, and they were said to be very unpredictable, like they would just materialize out of nowhere. And this has been the cause of many tourists and even municipal newspapers photographing these faces. And many people are convinced that these faces are not human-made and that there is something more paranormal taking place. However, paranormal investigators credit these faces to something called photographic phenomenon. It's also known as thermography, and this is the ability to burn images onto a surface through one's mind. So these paranormal investigators believe that these faces or images on the floor were burned onto the floor by the former owner of the house through the ability of photography. Or thoughtography. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's their theory. Yeah, this is good, but I would definitely prefer to make my Alfredo sauce at home. So, significant examinations were implemented by researchers who were considerably doubtful, and they suspected that the faces were falsified or concocted by the owners of the house as a stratagem to prolong financial income. So basically they were just doing it for money. But that's just what they suspect. Apparently, in 1971, the owner of the home, Maria Camara, alleged that the faces materialized on the concrete floor of her kitchen, like I previously mentioned. After Maria attempted to scrub away the faces, which she was unsuccessful, her husband, he dismantled the face and then laid new concrete over top, although they claim a new face had taken shape on the newly laid concrete. Now, the mayor of Belmez found this out, and he prohibited demolition of the face and instead had that segment of concrete extracted for evaluation. For the next 30 years, the owners of the home maintained that faces proceeded to appear on their floor. Their home was then marketed as La Casa de la Caras, which means the House of Faces. And this is where travelers would come and witness the faces for themselves. In 1971, a skeptic, Jose Luis Jordan, vice president of the Spanish Society of Parapsychology, was asked to oversee a project that elected experts in concrete chemistry to analyze the phenomenon and then delineate their findings to authorities. Now, Jordan, he postulates a number of solutions that could have been acquired to easily deceive people into believing these faces were real. First of all, he believes that these faces could be created by pigmentation with a dark brownish substance, for example, a mixture of soot and vinegar, or the aggressive action of a chemical compound. And Jordan also stated that this compound could be found at any drugstore by asking for a German product to remove stains. And the mystery that the images were invisible and latent for some time is thereby solved. So basically, Jordan assumes that one of these chemical compounds was utilized to create a transient invisibility cloak for the faces, and that would explain the reoccurrences of the faces because the chemicals could only keep them cleared for a certain period of time. I don't know. I just was doing my research and this is what I found out. So, like I always say, I have a basic understanding of what I'm talking about. I just don't understand the complete science of it. So some of these things I may be saying, if you're a scientist, you may be like, you're all out of whack and this is all wrong. If that's the case, I apologize, but this is just the research that I have accumulated. I'm kind of really struggling today, so please bear with me, you guys. It's just one of those days. This is so good. I mean, like I said, it's not as good as my homemade one, but it's still good, and it's everything that I was craving. So a man by the name of Ramos Pereira, who was the president of the Spanish Society of Parapsychology, surmised that the first of the Belmas faces was actually painted. He said that through infrared photography, we saw that this one had added pigmentation, and even the paintbrush bristles could be perceived. Of course, after that, we had no doubts that it had been painted. However, in September of 1990, the Institute of Ceramics and Glass studied samples from two of the faces, and they detected no indication of paint, although there was no specification to which faces they had been studying, so this does not deter any chance that forgery was involved. Now, fraud and falsification aside, the most tenable explanation, And I say tenable because I want to believe that this is paranormal. But the most tenable explanation is the use of one or many oxidizing chemical agents or chemicals reactive to light. For example, silver nitrate darkens when exposed to ultraviolet sunlight. So there are no less than 3 conditions in which the Belmez faces could have occurred. Number 1, oxidizing chemicals and agents such as acids could have altered the chemical composition in the cement. Number 2, commodities that change the chemical configuration in the cement but leave the surfaces unscathed until exposed to outside forces such as light. And number 3, the exploitation of a catalyst to create a change in visual pigment or coloration. So, there's a lot to this, and there's still some more we're going to talk about, but I need a food break. You guys, you have to make this. So now we're getting to the interesting part. In 2014, a man by the name of Jose Gracinia, a doctor in chemical engineering, removed a few samples for himself, and upon inspection he deduced that the faces weren't made with paint, and according to scientific knowledge and techniques employed in the analysis, there is no external manipulation of elements. Forensic criminalist Louis Alamancos set out to replicate the faces utilizing the techniques I mentioned earlier, silver nitrate, concrete solvents, hydrochloric acid, and they proved ineffective. He concluded by saying the words summarizing his opinion are absolute bewilderment. Maria Camara, the previous owner, or the owner of the home when the first face appeared, ended up passing away in 2004. However, the faces still remain, and supposedly upon some of the examinations, human remains were found underneath the home, which the family didn't know about. Kathy Strain, an anthropologist, verified that there was a cemetery from the 1800s in that location to which houses were built over top. Poltergeist who? So a lot of people believe that these faces are the souls of the deceased, making their presence known through manifestations in the concrete. And that's what I want to believe, because it's scary. But the most likely explanation is pareidolia, which is the tendency to see familiar shapes or patterns in things, i.e. faces. So it is very likely that these faces are just coincidentally very alike to faces. And we just can see the faces because face shape is familiar to us, if that makes sense. This is so good, and it's so light too. Very easy to eat the whole thing. So what do you guys think about the Belmez faces, and have you heard of it before, or them before? Let me know what you guys think. Okay, last bite. I was very hungry today. Alright, you guys, that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. More true crime and conspiracy theories to come. I'm very much enjoying the true crime and conspiracy theories, so I'm really glad that you are too. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.